Okay, so that's the cue. So we are now recording, and so welcome to our collaborative session on MLK library databases. My name is Kyle Greenwood, and I have with me...
I'm Stephanie Felice. We're all excited to have you here.
And our moderator assistant, can you introduce yourself?
Sure, my name is Vanessa. Thank you for joining us.
Great. And we're going to get into a few more, we're going to introduce ourselves just a little bit further. We're going to have all of you introduce yourselves. This session is going to be extremely informative. Not only are you going to be learning about how Collaborate is working, because I'm sure all of you have done the Collaborate session through the peer mentor program as a requirement. This is not a requirement, but you're going to get a lot out of it, and not only for Collaborate, but you're going to get a lot out of the databases because you're going to be using these constantly throughout your program through either small blog posts, term papers that can run into 15 to 20 pages. Sorry, guys. And even just small assignments that, because most assignments your professors are going to ask you for citations. And so hopefully you get a lot out of this. Okay. We went over the audio wizard. Tonight's agenda. I'm sorry, Stephanie, you want to go ahead with the agenda? Since I'm going to stick to the script.
All right, so tonight we're going to start with introductions. Then we'll review. Okay. And then we will review the goals for the session. We have a few reminders, but then we'll launch right into it. First with accessing the King Library databases. And then we're going to talk about 3 databases specifically: ERIC, Academic Search Complete, and Lista. Then we're going to close by covering some basic search tips and some places you can go for extra help.
Okay, so introductions. My name is Kyle Greenwood. This is my 7th and final semester here at San Jose State University's iSchool. I'm graduating in May. It's been a long 3 years, and trust me, it will go by super, super quick. I have a background in journalism, so the picture you see is from me at Penn State University, where I got my bachelor's in journalism. Unfortunately, the journalism career did not pan out. After a few years toiling in the hotel industry, I decided to do a career switch. I went to Kutztown University for my teaching certification, and in 2 years I graduated, and I've been a library media specialist in the public school system for 9 years. I am in the Morrisville School District, which is a suburb of Philadelphia. I'm originally from the suburbs of Philadelphia, born and raised, so I'm an East Coaster. And I run the entire school district's library media program. I enjoy cooking, traveling. I have a house at the Jersey Shore. So that's just a little bit about me. Stephanie?
Okay, so my name is Stephanie. I live in Washington, D.C. right now. I'm a librarian for a system of university libraries where I do research sharing, reference, and some archival work. I work at the headquarters of the system of all of the universities in D.C. I got into librarianship right out of college. It was the first job I had, and I've been here for a couple years now, finally getting my degree. I have 2 semesters left at the iSchool. I agree with Kyle. It goes by very fast, and I'm already ready for it to be over. When I'm not touching books and dealing with books, I do a lot of baking. I play the guitar, I play the banjo, normal things. So now let's go down the Collaborate room and then everyone introduce themselves, where they're from, a little bit of their library background.
Okay, so we'll start with Vanessa, and then Beth, you will lead off.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Vanessa. I've actually been the MLIS program since fall 2014, and I will be graduating the end of this semester, actually, so I'm pretty excited for that. I'm just a collaborate assistant right now, so if you have any issues with audio or anything like that, I will be trying to help you out. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I like to go hiking. I live in Los Angeles, and yeah, I'll pass it on to Beth.
Hi, I'm Beth. I live on the coast of Massachusetts, about an hour south of Boston, between Boston and Cape Cod. I work as a full-time library associate for my local town library in the circulation and children's departments. I just actually moved to full-time from part-time. That position also included some hours in tech services too. So I have already a fairly solid, diverse library background, and getting my MLS is a way to kind of move up into different jobs. This is also actually a career change for me. I have a master's already in environmental policy, and like you, Kyle, that career didn't quite work out. So moving on to this one.
Okay, this is Cordy. Nice to meet you all. I am in San Francisco, and this is definitely a career switch for me. I got my first master's in art history, and then I worked in publishing for a while, and now I realize I want to go back and work in museums, but more in an archival role. So I'm just trying to survive this rainy winter in San Francisco right now. So nice to meet you guys.
Hi, this is Dan, or Daniel. I go by both. I'm a classically trained musician. I live in Sacramento, and I went to Sac State for music. And I like that everybody's saying this is a career change for them. For me, this is sort of a make it work moment with my career, because being a performer and a composer isn't really panning out. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe music librarian would be a more practical application. My background is in public libraries and special libraries. I've worked at the Napa County Library, shelving books and customer service. I've also cataloged a special library at the University of California, Davis, and managed the music library for the Sacramento Youth Symphony. So I'm really just here to gain skills, and if I don't become a music librarian, I've still got a wonderful career as a librarian. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of enjoying it.
Hi, my name's Gina. I'm from Los Angeles, and I do not have a library background, so this is will be a career change for me when I finish with my master's, and I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ginger, and my library background is pretty much volunteering. I used to volunteer at two different public libraries, one in North Carolina a few years ago, and now where I live in Wichita, Kansas. I also used to work at a university library for about 3 years in tech services. Mainly it was just mending books, which I really did enjoy. And before that, I worked for 3 years for a big corporation here in records management. So I was a records coordinator there. And this will be my second master's degree. Second time doing all online programs. I'm pretty comfortable with that. Other than that, just excited to be here.
Hi, this is Joyce. I'm talking from Charlottesville, Virginia, but I'm originally from the LA area. I actually, just like Kyle, I had a bachelor's in journalism degree. I just graduated last May, and also decided that journalism wasn't really right for me. And I always loved the libraries. I had volunteered before when I was in high school. and in college, and now I'm currently working as a part-time shelver at my local library in Charlottesville. So yeah, I'm hoping to get into either young adult services or public library, like reference wise, but open to other paths as well. Nice meeting you all.
Hi, good evening. I'm Kate. I live in Petaluma, California, so just a little bit north of San Francisco. And like Cordy, I also have a master's. Mine is in humanities with a concentration in art history, but I thought the MLIS program was a good opportunity to actually be able to use my degree. I'm very fortunate to be here and glad to meet you all.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kathleen Campbell. I, too, like Kyle, I'm in the midst of a career switcher. I spent the past 30 years working for the federal government and decided that wasn't it for me. And I have a bachelor's in speech pathology. And I've always loved going to the library and working in the library during high school. And so I decided this was my new career to seek a master's in information science. It was great meeting you all.
I don't know if Maria's having trouble. If not, we'll fix it. And Marissa, if you want to jump in. Okay, if Marissa's still having trouble, that's fine. Mary Claire, if you want to jump in.
Sure, not a problem. I'm in Northern Virginia at this time, and I work at the Library of the Marine Corps. I started out as an IT contractor, lost the contract, and they said, come on back. So now I've done cataloging, and now they have me in virtual branch. Nice to meet you all.
Hi, my name is Mike. I live in Bremerton, Washington. My background with libraries, I started volunteering in my local library about 3 years ago, and I'm involved with the Frenzo Library here in Bremerton, and my federal career here is ending in another 3.5 years, and I'm looking to hope to work for the library system once I retire at 50.
Hi, my name is Myung Lee. I live in San Jose, very close to San Jose State University. And I was working as an engineer in Silicon Valley for close to 15 years. Now I'm looking for a career change. And it's nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ruby. I live in Winters, California. It's near Davis. I got my bachelor's in art history and Native American studies. During my senior year, I was a student assistant at my campus's special collections in the library, so that's where I got some experience there. And then I took a year off, and I continued to volunteer at the local library and at the Yolo County Archives. And then I finally decided to pursue my master's. It's nice meeting all of you.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm doing the postmaster certificate here at SJSU for youth library services because I'm the high school librarian at a library here in Portland, Oregon. I started my career as an English teacher. I did middle school English and reading for 6 years in Las Vegas, got my master's degree in curriculum there, and then moved to Portland and worked as an assessment director for a district for a while, and I really missed working with kids, so when a library opportunity opened up, I took it.
Hi, I'm Sherry, and I live in California, south of Sacramento, east of San Francisco. I have been a teacher for 20-some years, and I want to transition now into being a district library media person. It's usually over the district in California. So, Kyle, I was really excited to hear that that's what you do. I would love to know more about how yours works in your district.
Okay, well, it was great to hear from everyone. And before we get going, some goals for the session. At the end of the session, hopefully, everyone will be able to log on to the King Library website. Everyone will be able to utilize the databases and run searches to get advanced and basic search techniques. And they will learn how to filter by peer-reviewed, full text, and publication date options. We also hope that all of you will be able to locate the citation information and export it into a secondary location like RefWorks. And then lastly, we hope that everyone will be able to print a document if they need or want to. And a few reminders. As Kyle mentioned at the top of the session, this session is not a session that satisfies the Collaborate requirement for Module 4 in Info 203, so we will not give you a keyword at the end of this session. You can refer back to the recording of this session anytime by visiting the Spring 27 Meetup page, which is where you RSVP'd for this session in the first place. And we will pause and ask questions throughout our time here, but if you have any questions at all, you can use the hand-raising tool, which should be the little high-five symbol. Exactly. All right.
Okay. Well, first off, I just want to commend everybody on joining the MLIS San Jose State University iSchool program. Seeing a lot of career changes that really, it's interesting that we have a lot of people coming in as a career change, but I caught one thing that before I get started, that everybody says that they have a love of library and books, and that's extremely important. If you're doing a career change, you have to love this industry, and that's why I still enjoy what I do as a school librarian, even after 9 years, and I've worked in some pretty rough areas, West Philadelphia, and I love every minute of it. So thank you for coming and choosing this career, and let's get started. So the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Library at San Jose State is easily accessible, but you can Google search. Right here is the library.sjsu.edu page. There is no HTTP prompt. You could just plug in that site, that link, and it'll send you right to the home page. We could do a whole another hour on the different features of how do you get the interlibrary loan, but we're going to focus on the articles and databases portion. And this is where you're going to get your links to journal articles, which again I stress is extremely important for your success in this program, because you're going to be required to look up all sorts of information. And you are very fortunate to have access, and I'm going to miss this, graduating, access to the amount of information that this school provides you with the journal articles is incredible. So use it. It's part of your program, and you pay for it. So it's very exciting. So here's the link for it, articles and databases. And let me make sure I don't... Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is the link page, and it's, as you can see, it's A to Z. So you go to the one you're looking for, and we're going to go over a few of them today. Before Stephanie gets into the next portion, you'll get a home page, or excuse me, a login page. So all of you should have your ID number. It's a 9-digit number. You all should have it. That's something you should put aside at all times. And of course, when you sign in, you can always save your information. So that's always nice for me. I can just have it, all the information is plugged into my personal computer. I don't have to keep typing it in all the time. If you have problems with your PIN number, you can always call tech support, and there's a link also there. Forgot your PIN, they'll get you set up with a new PIN if you forget it. Okay, so I think it's Stephanie's turn. Yes.
Yep. Okay, so today we're going to talk about 3 databases. The first one is ERIC, which is the Education Research Information Center. That will cover Academic Search Complete, which contains a multidisciplinary set of materials. And finally, we'll talk about LISTA, which is the Library Information Science and Technology Abstracts database. Okay, so ERIC. ERIC contains education research, which isn't necessarily library information science, but it covers a lot of the same material, and you'll find a lot of library science materials on ERIC, especially if you're specializing in education librarianship. Anything like that you can find via ERIC. So we can find ERIC in 3 different platforms, via EBSCO, ProQuest, and on the Department of Education website. We're going to look at ERIC via ProQuest because the other 2 databases we'll look at will be on the EBSCO platform. I just want to highlight some differences that ProQuest has. Okay, so after we click the ProQuest, ERIC ProQuest link, we're brought to the ERIC homepage. Okay, this is the basic search page for ERIC. If you want to do a basic search and have no filters on it, you can just type your keywords in the search bar and click the magnifying glass and go. But what you'll probably want to do is run an advanced search, which gives you several different options to refine your search. Some relevant options include full text only, document type, language. Some of the most important ones, one important one is peer reviewed. So I'm going to ask you guys right now, what does it mean when an article is peer reviewed? And this has many different options. So if you think you know what the correct answer is, you can go ahead and plug it into the chat box. All right, we're looking pretty good. Okay, so a peer-reviewed article is an article that was reviewed by other experts before it was published. So it's a method of quality control. For most searches that you run, you want to focus on peer-reviewed sources because they are inherently better sources because they have been run through that filter first. Okay, so you can also filter your results by publication date in this little drop-down box right here. With this option, you can restrict your search results to items within the last few years, or you can also specify a certain date range, which might help you for certain projects that you're working on. Yes. Do I have a question? Danny, what's your question?
So the date range caught my eye because I remember in my undergrad I took a history class where the teacher was very particular about using references which were considered new. I don't remember what she said. I thought it was the last 5 or 10 years. She basically said don't look at anything older than 10 years because it's probably been reevaluated since then. I'm wondering if you've ever heard that, how you felt and what other professors have said, just kind of generally.
Yeah, I've had several professors want to restrict sources that we use within the past 5 or 10 years. I took a course and a professor told me that within the past 10 years that's considered recent. But for certain topics, you might be looking for sources that are specifically older, especially if you want to look at how attitude towards a topic changed over time, something like that. So it's a good option to keep publication date in mind because you will want to rely heavier on more recent sources generally. Yeah, you're correct.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so I ran a sample search here that you can see on information literacy and adult. And this is the results page that you get from ERIC. So ProQuest, ERIC via ProQuest automatically sorts its results by relevance, as you can see in the drop-down box on the upper left-hand side of the page. But you can change that if you are looking for newer sources or older sources. Relevance is generally a good way to go, however. Okay, on the results page, I can do several things. Sorry, hang on. Okay, so this is the results page, and all of the keywords that I searched for are highlighted, so I can see exactly where my keywords ended up in my results. So we're going to look at an item record page for that very first result, number 1. Okay, so this brings me to the item record page, and I can do several things with the article at this point. In the red box, I can get the full text of the article by clicking on the Get Text button. The black box in the upper corner contains several helpful tools. The Cite button, which will bring up a citation generator, which Kyle will talk about later on. I can also print or email that article. And then the blue box shows me the subject tags that have been assigned to that article. If I'm interested in one of the subjects, I can click the box next to it and search for all articles on that subject. Back to the results page. We can filter our results further using the options on this page. So if I haven't done so, I can now filter my results by peer-reviewed articles by clicking the peer-reviewed box on the upper left-hand side right below the search bar. And I can also see how many articles are peer-reviewed and how many are not. So if that matters for the search, then I can make that change. So for this one, it'll cut the results almost in half, but it'll probably give me the half that are more qualitatively better. So I might want to consider that when refining my results. And I can also restrict my results by publication date using the sliding scale here, and I can see how many results are in each decade by the size of the bar. Okay, finally we can cite our article. So by clicking on this number 1 and then clicking on the Cite button on the results screen, that will bring up a citation generator. And so as you can see, this whole long mess of words is this citation. And I can change that citation style, and I can also export it to RefWorks, which we'll talk about later on. So that should bring us to.
Okay, Academic Search Complete is one I like to use because it is multidisciplinary. It covers a lot of different ground in subject areas. It's like a Google of journal searching. Okay, so we'll put it in that terms. It looks a little different, like Eric. It looks different than Eric. The interface you will see through EBSCOhost is exactly the same in a lot of the databases. So this home page will look very familiar to you in a lot of the databases that San Jose State has to offer. Eric looks a little different. Okay, so it has a Boolean search here. We'll just quickly go over Boolean. I'm sure you've heard that before, using and, or, and not. And I'm just gonna cover some of the features of it that you will be used the most. So I put in one of my favorite movements in education, Makerspace, because that's been generating articles in a contemporary sense. So I just made that a search. You can, up here next to Makerspace, it says select a field. When you drop down, it's going to have choices of subject, title, and such as here. You don't have to click anything unless it is a title or an author. If it's just a subject, you can leave it on select a field. That's fine. It's good. It'll find Makerspace. It'll just find them everywhere. Okay. So if you click subject, make sure you click full text. Very important, because An abstract doesn't give you the information. It just gives you an overview of what it's about. Okay, so if you want to read the abstract, fine. But you want full text. Very important. Okay. And here's your search results. I think it looks a lot cleaner than Eric. I'm not bashing Eric, but Eric does different, has educational websites, which is fine. Oh, we have a question. Go for it.
Yes, I was just wondering, where do we click again for the abstract in case we need to select the abstract?
Okay, so if you don't click, good question, Maggie. If you don't click full text, you will get the articles that'll pop up, and it will have a place where you can click the abstract. Okay, so you have that option to do that by not clicking full text. This just limits only full text. That's my habit, but if you just want the abstract, that's fine. You can do that. Just don't click full text.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good question, Maggie. And welcome to the program. Okay, also Dan mentioned about publication date, and here it's in the green. You can do like a scroll bar to change your date. Yes, professors they do want publication dates for some of them. I just had a intense thesis writing course, and the professor made sure that I only want 10-year-old articles. Anything older than 10, he took off points. Okay, so it is up to the professor. Most of the time, no, they won't. But sometimes, yes, they will ask, please, I want a range. I don't want articles older than 10. So I wanted to clarify with Dan what he said with Steph. Yes, and just wanted to go over that real quick. So you can get the HTML or PDF. Whatever you want, the PDF will actually have the image that it appears in the journal. HTML will have just a shot of it just as it appears here in the window, but not in the PDF. Okay. Here's the PDF of this article, Makerspaces and Design Thinking, perfect together. Okay. Very clean image page. It's got a few features. On the left-hand side, you'll see a list of content. So when you put in the citation for page range, on each page, so on page 42, it's got that content. On page 47, it's got that content. Okay, so you can keep track of what pages you are citing very nicely. Okay. Print option. I use it all the time. I print out everything I do. When I did my 25-page thesis paper, I printed out everything. And I keep nothing on my hard drive as far as an article. I print everything out. You can print it out just like that. Okay. Citation tool. Stephanie went over the citation tool. When you click citation tool, a whole list of citations will pop up. And you will notice in the APA that the format is wrong. So don't be alarmed. That's why you have your APA style guide. And you also can use a site called OWL, O-W-L. I'm going to write it down here. O-W-L. That's Purdue University. They have a great citation page website to how to properly format Purdue University. Okay, so APA, when they list it here, they capitalize the whole author name. We don't do that in APA. So somehow their format's incorrect. So just got to double check the format at all times. Very important, because sometimes it will be wrong. Okay, but the rest of the format is correct except for, okay, they didn't under the capital letter of the first, but the rest of it should be under lowercase letters, okay? But the rest of it looks good, so just double check. So which citation format does SJSU iSchool use? And this might seem like a no-brainer. So I have MLA, APA, Chicago, all of the above, or B and C. Sorry, that last one got cut off. Okay, we have B, 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 B. Okay. Yes, you're technically correct, but not entirely. We at the iSchool always use APA. However, in Info 285, which is the thesis course when you're doing intense research, Dr. Bernier does the history track. So if you really like history and researching history, he uses Chicago. Okay? So yes, 99.99999% of your classes will use APA, but guys like Dr. Bernier will use Chicago. So you're just going to have to look at the format under academic search and switch it to Chicago. So we do use both here at the iSchool, but not all the time. Just a little trick for you. Exporting into RefWorks. That's a citation tool generator where you take the information and you plug it into a document. Does anybody just say yes in the chat? Has anybody used RefWorks or any kind of EasyBib citation tool generator? Okay, good. Kate has. Can you make changes to citation? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Once you plug it into, say you copy and paste. Once you copy and paste your citation into a Word document, you can make all the changes you want. You just have to be mindful of the changes that need to be made. Okay, Kathleen has not. Kathleen, I am running a RefWorks on the 31st of January. I'll have a video uploaded to the school on how to use RefWorks. And RefWorks is free to use. It'll help you put all of your citations in folders and help you generate a document that's in full citation. The document's is in correct with a hanging indents and the spacing. It'll make you a document for you for all of your bibliography. It's a great tool to use. It's free through the university. Okay, so but I'll leave my email address if you have any questions about RefWorks. I will be happy to answer them. Okay, and we'll go into a little bit about RefWorks down the line. So real quick, this is the RefWorks import log. As you can see in the background, there is a RefWorks page that I started, and it's got all of my references listed, and they're all done in perfect citation for the most part. And I just import my citations, put them right into RefWorks. It's a fantastic tool to use. And once you use it, it's super easy for those of you who have used it. And EasyBib too, but I think you have to pay for EasyBib. Scholarly peer-reviewed journals, as Stephanie was talking about, there's a box where you can click the link to get a scholarly peer reviewed. I know with a lot of professors, they want that peer review, and that'll end with a DOI number at the end. I think you learned that about one of your modules, about the DOI number. That is the cue that it is a peer-reviewed article. So you can filter that into your searches. So with the limitation to full text, I've narrowed my searches from 55 in that makerspace down to 15. So that's what you want. You don't want to have to go through hundreds and hundreds of searches. 15 is a good amount of searches. And of course here I love the movie Office Space, and I had to put a little meme in here with Lumberg. And Dan approves. Stephanie's going to just go over real quick about Boolean searching.
Yeah, Kyle mentioned Boolean searching at the top of his section on Academic Search Complete. So if you're not familiar with Boolean searching, Boolean operators allow you to combine search terms in a way that gives them a relationship. You can use these to refine or expand your search depending on how you want your terms related to one another. So if you want to use the term and, you're looking for the cross-section between both terms. So you're looking for articles in which both terms are present. When you use the term, or when you use the operator or, you're looking for cases where either term is present. So your search results will include both the results in which both terms are present. So in this example, you're looking for articles with puppy and kitten, but you're also looking for articles with just puppy and articles with just kitten. This is a good way to incorporate search terms like synonyms, where you don't mind if they're both there, but you want to make sure that both of those terms are covered by your search. You can also use the Boolean operator not, which is the opposite of and. So it will exclude the term following your not. So if your search is puppy not kitten, then you'll retrieve articles with just the term puppy and no articles with the term kitten, even if puppy is in those articles. Yep, we got a question. What's your question, Dan?
So regarding the Boolean searching, I know of one, and I'll type it in so you can see. It's with the asterisk, where you can type in P-U-P-P asterisk, because puppy is actually spelled, puppy plural is spelled different than puppy singular. Does that work also?
Yeah, we're going to talk about, that is called truncation. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but it's also a very, very good search tip.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, this brings us to LISTA, which is our last database. It is the Library and Information Science and Technology Abstracts database. As Kyle mentioned, this is also on the EBSCO platform, which is why it looks a lot like Academic Search Complete. So the search mechanics will be pretty much the same.
Okay, now I'm not going to go through the whole thing I just did with Academic Search. But I just want to make a comment that this, with library science, being this is a library science program, you will use this a lot. Okay, I would use this a lot, especially when you're doing blog posting. Professors will ask you, when you do a blog post discussion board, you have to include sources. You know, because that's just part of the grad school program to attribute everything you write with a source. I use LISTA. It's great. For example, I did a Boolean search here, a very popular topic in library, Common Core. And I incorporated the term literacy with it because they go hand in hand. And if I was to do a Boolean search, I could do Common Core not literacy, so all the articles had to do with Common Core, but nothing is mentioned about literacy at all. Okay, so I could go that route. The only reason I'm showing you this is it's ways to save your work. If you want to save it into a folder, and you can align all of your sources in a nice, neat page on LISTA, and then you can save the folder in two ways, and I'll show you what saving is all about. You can click this little folder here that's pointed, and you can click this Add to Folder. And as you see below, Add to Folder, you see the print, email, save, cite, export, all the good stuff that we just went over. So the Add to Folder. And on a side note, can you see the program I've used to make these graphics? This is a great program called Jing, J-I-N-G. It's free to use. You can create screenshots with it and put graphics on it. Highly recommend getting it for your program. Jing, J-I-N-G. There we go. And here is the list of sources that I plan on potentially using for a blog post on Common Core. Here's an article from an academic journal on graphic novels, my students' favorite books. When are we getting to Minecraft, sir? When are we getting to Minecraft? Drive me nuts. Okay, 3 heads are better than 1. It's about library. Here's all the subject headings. Coaching, reading, educational. Okay, so it fits what I want to do with Common Core. And I want these, but I have to cite them, okay? So this is where we export our, you click on each one, and then you're going to export into RefWorks. And then it shoots it on over. You choose RefWorks, and then it shoots it on into RefWorks. And again, I could do a whole nother hour, but I will be doing a video, a tutorial on RefWorks. So if you keep your email address with me and keep me updated, if you're interested, I will send you and show you the link to that when it's ready. And Stephanie's got a quick note about Listed because we have some changes.
Yeah. Just as of a few weeks ago, Listed is now included in the Library Information Science Source Database, which is LISS. For this semester, both will be available. You can look them both up on the King Library website. But after June, you will find the list of materials in the LISS database. But these aren't all the databases. King Library has hundreds of databases that you can use. When choosing a database, you should think about your research topic and select the most appropriate database for your needs. Very likely, it'll be one of the three that we covered today. But other databases can be helpful too, especially if you're working on an interdisciplinary topic. Your information needs might straddle the scope of another database, and feel free to use one of those. Here are a few examples of databases in other subject areas. ArtStore for art, Encyclopedia of Popular Music for music. MathSciNet covers mathematics and the other hard sciences, and Westlaw contains legal references. So a few basic search tips. We covered Boolean searching earlier, but you can use quotations around exact phrases. For example, in my sample search earlier, I searched information literacy, and to make sure that the search engine didn't break up information and literacy, because those things don't mean as much apart as they do together, I put quotations around the term to make sure that the search engine searched it as a single term. When you're brainstorming keywords, you should also think about the variations that you could include or you may want to search with. You should think about the terminology your ideal sources would use. You should think about variations. So if I'm searching adults, do I want to search grown-ups? Do I want to search people? Think about all those things when you're coming up with your search query. Just be creative. So I find that it helps to brainstorm on a sheet of paper the core concepts that I want to cover with my search before I even begin researching. It's the same idea as coming up with a thesis before you start writing your paper.
Okay,
Dan got a little ahead of us with truncation. But truncation is another search tactic where you place an asterisk in the place of the last letter in the search term that might change. It's a good tactic for when you have a word that might have variations. So if I want to search teach, I could search teach followed by an asterisk, and the search engine would return results for teach, teaching, teachers. I'm sure you can see how this would be helpful. You don't have to include all those different terms in your search. Do we have any questions so far? Okay. And finally, you want to make sure that you look critically at your search results. Even if they are peer-reviewed sources, you want to still read them through to make sure that they are going to support the points that you are making. You should consider an article's purpose, such as, is it written to prove a point that contradicts yours or to prove a point that is similar to yours? You should also think of it as methodology. So does the work done in the article correspond with the conclusions that it makes? Does it ignore certain factors that would change its results or certain other things that would contribute to its results? In some cases, you can even apply the scientific method to it, especially if it's a study of some sort, such as, do they have a control group, or do they not? Last semester, I was looking at a study on patron-driven demand, which just unilaterally in its conclusion said, oh, patron-driven demand is better and it meets, information needs. They compared two samples, but they didn't have a control group, which completely colored the way that I looked at that article after I thought through it. And finally, you want to consider any potential biases it has. Affiliations of the researchers. Is the study sponsored by Google? Something like that. So basically, don't take an article's conclusion at face value. So do a little bit of thinking before you decide to use a source.
Okay, before I go to extra help, also on the list of databases is biographical databases, which is really good because there are some courses on children's literature. And I've taken a couple on children's literature, and we've actually had to read some of selected works, but we do author studies, so that's really good to just to think about, something to think about. If you're doing author study, we have biographical databases, which is fantastic. So for extra help, the King Library has an enormous amount of extra help. That truncation slide you saw, I took that from our one of the tutorials here at the iSchool, and it was courtesy of Eastern Washington University. So now you can't click on these links, but Stephanie has links for you. There they are. She's already ready to copy and paste them because you can't click on here and get the information. The general tutorials page is here. The navigating specific databases. So if you want more information on that instead of what we just covered, you can go there. Ann Agee is the LIS librarian. Each department at the university has a librarian in charge, and Ann Agee is our librarian. This is her email address. She is very accessible to answer any questions, quite an expert, so ask her if you have any questions. Or if you're at the university, I know, I think the Young said she lives in San Jose, so stop over at the King Library and ask Ann. Module 7 of Info 203 talks about the King Library databases, and you have a whole module on that. And of course, Stephanie and myself, or the peer mentor for your section of Info 203. This is my email address. I'll put it here. I'm also on LinkedIn. Excuse me, on LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn. Okay, and Stephanie. Sorry, so yeah, Stephanie, you can put your own email address as I wrap up. So to wrap up, what we've covered is kind of the hour went by super quick after the introductions and everything. But Stephanie brought up about some good points about thinking critically, and that's a very important component of being a grad student, is being able to think critically and to be able to express yourself in a educated, critical way, where you combine the author's purpose and their thoughts with your own and come up with, and you write your own ideas, but attributing is very important. So these databases is just chock full of information. So the information is endless, and you will find great pleasure in using this because they are super easy. So if you do have any questions, please ask, and all this information to ask for extra help is here. And your peer mentor, that is, like mine is Vicky. If you have Vicky, She's fantastic to ask. She's been doing this peer mentor thing for a long time, and she's been through the program. And that's any questions? I don't know if I went too quick. My students say sometimes at school, sometimes I talk fast, but any questions at all? Okay, go ahead, Daniel.
I heard you say that every department has a librarian. Is there a master list of them, or would it be better just to go to the website of that department and look there?
That's a great question. Stephanie, do you know the answer to that? Because yeah, every page should have the librarian listed with their picture on it.
Mm-hmm. If you go to the articles and databases search page that we showed way back at the top, and you search by subject matter, I don't know if we can find that slide. It's way back at the top. If you search by subject matter, for example, you can search by library and information science, and it will bring you to a library and information science guide page with Anna G's picture on it, very, very large, and her contact information. So you can just search by subject area on this page right here. Oh,
there.
This page,
okay.
Yes. If you see the all subjects, you can search there by subject. And it'll bring you to library information and the librarian for that subject matter.
Great, thank you.
And the last thing I wanted to mention, this is part of, when we talk about databases, this e-textbooks is a great resource because sometimes your class will have a textbook in e-textbooks. So try going there and see if your class actually has material, a textbook for that class, so you won't have to spend money on a textbook. I actually have taken a couple courses where the textbook for the course is in e-textbooks. So do a search of that, and you might be surprised that you might be able to find your textbook in there. But besides that, it'll take me to the end. Stephanie's going to give you a survey. If you could fill out the form there, it's in Google Forms. It helps provide information and evaluation about your experience here in the tutorial and about our performance as providers of the information. And of course, there's another meme. I was a huge Taxi fan, and there's Latka, Andy Kaufman, comedic genius. But if there's anything else, we're going to be hanging. I'll hang for another 10 minutes. And if you have nothing else, you are dismissed, class, and thank you very much. Yes, Kathleen, there will be a link to the presentation. I might have it before, as mentors, we have to have the link in before January 31st. And I don't know, Stephanie, do you have the link of the video tutorial page?
I don't on hand. I can get it if, who asked?
Kathleen.
Yeah, if Kathleen wants to hang around for 2 minutes, I can grab it real quick.
Yeah, there'll be she's going to give you a link of all the videos, and eventually, if I get your email address or you have mine, I will make sure that I'll tell you when that tutorial is up on that page, because the department will post the new videos.
It'll be in the next probably 2 weeks, probably.
Yeah, they just have us. They want us due by the 31st. So some people have already done theirs. They're only 5-minute videos, so they're super short. But yes, I'm going to do one on RefWorks. You're welcome. Oh, and I have your email address too, Kathleen. Never mind. All of the email addresses that people that participated here, we have a copy of that as part of, we know who the participants are, so I will let you know. I just forgot about that. Go ahead, Dana. You don't have to raise your hand anymore. You can fire away.
Okay, cool. I stepped away when I think what happened is you guys logged into the library, and I was wondering if you could show me where the link is. What happened is I was looking at the library screen, and when I flipped back, you were already logged in.
Okay, so you're talking about the pin page.
Yeah, I wasn't able to find the one.
This guy.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so what happens is the first time that you access a database on the King Library page, it'll bring you to this screen.
Oh, okay.
And if you're in the same session, same browser session, you should only be brought to the screen once. It'll remember. And you'll get your pin in Module 7. You'll set that up of Info 203.
Okay. Great.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and when if you happen to time out, it will say if you go away for a while and you try to access it, you will be asked for your information again, just like at a bank website if you time out. Go ahead, Maggie.
Yes. Where do we go again for the e-textbooks website? Is it?
Yes, the e-textbooks. Okay, so under the home screen, where it's the library home screen, library.sjsu.edu. On that screen, below articles and databases and Canvas, you'll see e-textbooks in the library.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. And I don't think there's... Okay. Yeah, info, if I go on there, it says the info classes for the program. A bunch of courses are listed that have the textbook, so they're already posted. If you're taking Info 200 or 204, which are the more introductory courses, there is some e-textbook material there. And Stephanie, wasn't there an ebook site? I can't remember because I had found another textbook on an ebook site.
I can't say with any certainty whether or not.
Okay. Ah, here we go. Found it. Okay, yeah, and also not only e-textbooks, but San Jose State University eBooks has textbook-related material. So if you're looking for an actual book to cite, instead of paying for it or going on Google Books and reading only pages 1 to 63 and then 63 or to 83 are omitted, you can read the books on our university ebooks, and I'll post that link for people if they're still hanging around. Oh. No? Okay, come on. Okay. It's being a pain. Okay. I'm going to do this a different way.
If you want to go ahead and shoot, Dan, while Kyle's typing.
Thank you. I see interlibrary loan, and I know how that works in person with tangible materials, but is there any kind of application for that if I'm online and I'm not going to be in San Jose?
Kyle, do you have an answer for that one?
You're going to have, yeah, good question. Ask Ann Agee. I've never used Interlibrary Loan in my time here.
Me neither.
That's saying you can't, because you can. You can ask Ann, and she'll give you that information. Or just click on the link in Interlibrary Loan, and it might give you, because ILL might have an ILL librarian on staff. Instead of Ann, they might be able to help you. There you
Okay,
go.
thank you.
Yep, there's the ebooks. I found a textbook once in a class on that ebook site. Yeah, there's like EBSCO books is on there, eLibrary, academic. If you just click on and try them out, you might find some information. Now there's some stuff on chemistry. You're not going to use that. So just kind of see which ones you might use over the other ones. There's JSTOR, which is for the more heavy research. A lot of peer review articles in JSTOR. So just play around with the ebooks. It's free to use. How many people we have? We have 8. Okay. So if you're still here, any questions about classes? Any reservations or concerns about the program itself? Good. Excellent. How many, I mean, you don't have to raise your hands. You can just freely talk on the mic. I'll be around for another 5 minutes because it's 9:37 on the East Coast and I get up at 5 in the morning.
Me too. I'm looking
forward
to it.
So this is open mic. If you just want to, anything you want to say, that's fine. Yep, Ginger. Yep. Have a good night, Maggie. Thanks, Ginger. Take care. And tomorrow is Friday, so that's a good sign.